Welcome back to FFB amigos. And today we mean business. We mean Chelsea business. Chelsea business. We're going to talk about transfers. I promised you this video a while back, and I promised you that I wouldn't make multiple videos a week, a day with all this transfer window madness, or else you guys will go crazy and I'll go crazy. I can't edit 1,000 videos. So this is going to be the one because I think we're at a crucial point. And then maybe just one last one when things start wrapping up. So let's get started. January transfer window. What's going on with Chelsea, peeps? What's going on with Chelsea? The big one, the obvious one, everybody's talking about. Garnacho. Garnacho, World Cup winning youngster. Alejandro Garnacho considering a move for Manchester United winger. Chelsea, we're considering a move for him. Now, I know you guys are losing your mind over this. I'm going to try to keep it short, although I made like 3 different slides for this particular player because I think it's interesting. But I think this is a business deal. Us Chelsea fans have to get our heads wrapped around this reality that sadly it's not an old school thing anymore. We're not out there bringing in big players first. The profiles are different. They're younger players. Yes, the finances are one of the things that matter, and this is an opportunity. We're going to see what's going on with Manchester United and why they would sell a player like Garnacho. And it sounds like there's Napoli was in contention, but they've stepped away. And there's some noise saying that they would take Nkunku as part of this deal, some sort of a swap, which would be interesting. I mean, I really love Nkunku very much. I like this player, but we haven't been utilizing him. So I think it's fair to allow him to leave if that's something that it'll be good for him and it's something that makes financial sense. Now, like I said, this is all about business. And let me explain something here. For Manchester United, why would they sell Garnacho? Because there's this narrative that he has this problem with Amorim, that they're in these fights. But I don't think that there's any real evidence of that other than, he was benched when he just got there with the Rashford thing. But I think he has the quality to stay at United, and he's 20 years old. And I think that he's a good player, but he would be a pure profit move, and us Chelsea fans know that. Luckily, we got Chalobah with us right now, but that's why we lost Gallagher. And why I think we're going to lose a lot of players is because you can suddenly make, in their case, 60 million pounds, let's say, if Chelsea are dumb enough to pay it. They pay the 60 million pounds, and they get that income right now. And let's say they buy Nkunku for 60 on a 4-year deal. That's only 15 this year on the books. So look, I'm not an expert about the sustainability rules, and I don't want to be, but it's just to say that there's a lot of dynamics where it's going to happen. It happened to us. It's going to happen again, where you're better off just selling a player and bringing somebody else on. Chelsea, on the Chelsea side, why is Chelsea interested? Is because, again, you bring them in on 60 million, but you run a very long contract for very little money. It's a player that you can flip. And look, they're looking at football this way now. What do you want me to say? It's what's happening. You can play him and flip him. You can even not play him. I mean, this would be madness, but you can just buy him, loan him out. His quality, if he does well, then you can actually turn him over for a larger profit on the sale. And the kind of stuff they would see with very young players, we buy him, we send him out loan, and then even transfer him without them even hitting Chelsea. I don't think that would be the case with Garnacho, but that's the kind of football business we're in now, guys. So we got to get used to that. And let me know how you feel in the comments, both United fans, if you were to get Nkunku, and Chelsea, how you feel about letting him go. I personally, I'm horrified. I think it's terrible. I think it's sad, but we have too many 10s. And if he's unhappy, I really believe in people's happiness and well-being. And if we can't offer anything to Nkunku, and I'll tell you this, I'm pissed off at Maresca, the way he's treating Nkunku and Felix, because I do think they've earned a spot in some game time, but it's not happening. So in any case, I wanted to look at something because people are saying that he sucks. And look, he benched Sancho for when he was in United. Their stats are not a big difference. Amorim is still saying that he's playing for him, that he likes him. The problem is that people just say this. And we saw him come in a game recently, and there was some good comments about what he's capable of. And if we remember that he's still 20 years old, he's still in development. And guys, I know you're like, no, not another youngster to Chelsea, but don't tell me, man. Go talk to Blueco. Go talk to Big Bali. Go talk to Boli. I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of what we do now. We'll make a video just on that, on the philosophy of how we're buying players and how we're planning for the future and what we're doing. I don't agree with it necessarily. I love on the business side, but on the football side, it could be a problem. And there's a day where those two marry, because if you go a long time without getting any championships, you're not getting anywhere. But in any case, this is just to say that his performance has been as poor. Maybe as of late, it's a recency bias. I was listening to Alex Talks Football. You guys need to listen to her. She's got a great channel. She's a great head on her shoulders. Somebody you should listen to if you're a United fan. And she's got another channel also for all you neutrals or fans of other teams. It's really worth listening to her. So I don't think, look, if he comes, I'm not going to be upset. We're all going to be upset that we're paying $60 million for him. But I think taking in mind that, if you amortize that over, a lot of years, then you can flip them for some money. And it just allows you to spend. That's what's happening to United, right? They get that income versus, somebody on the longer contract. It's a cash flow thing. And now you're allowed to spend, and it opens up the kitty to be able to buy in some players. This could unlock United being able to make, spend a little money on 2 or 3 buys, because again, if it's a 5, 7, 10-year contract, they only have to pay for this year on the accounting, let's say a 10th if it's a 10-year contract, exaggerating, of the value of the transfers. So they'd be able to bring in 2 or 3 players for Amorim, who's desperate. He just said that's the worst United, probably the worst Manchester United in history. So if you're seeing something like that, you got to get that guy some players, or he's wrong and crazy and you got to fire him. Then we also know that Casedei seems to be Lazio going ahead. It's not 100%, but I really hope he does. I think he's a player that he's just in the wrong league and in the wrong team, but I think he can find his feet. I'm very excited. I'd be happy for him. Whether it's a loan or he gets sold, again, I care about people finding their happiness, and footballers that age need to find football so they can find their game. They can end up, not really having a career unless they do something. So I'm happy for him if that's the case. Now we're moving on to Renato Veiga. It's become a little controversial lately because we're saying, people are saying that he's not, he's not happy, that he's upset, that he's only a center back. And even with the center back problems, we didn't take him into account. And this is another player that I think he did really well at first, and then he made a few mistakes in games. And obviously Maresca has lost faith in him. But it looks like he arrived already on the standard, as you guys say there, to do a medical at Juventus, which I think good for him. I think this is an amazing squad player to have. As you guys know, center back, left back, DM. And is the kind of player that, Chelsea would like normally, but hey, Maresca likes what he likes. So he's not in the plans. And if he goes to Juventus on loan, even better. He gets some minutes, profile high, and I think that's a great model, like I said, for Chelsea. Suddenly he can his value in the market go up by loaning him out. I think it is a problem for us because it should be a problem for us because he's got the left back and center back coverage. But if you don't take him into account for any of those positions, then people are saying that Maresca is not taking into account some of these players just because he's trying to get new players in, right? He's like, he's so bad, I won't take him into account. Which brings me to the following window, and I think the most important one. And I've been dying to talk about this. Ben Chilwell first. These are all these players in limbo. And this is, I think, part of the problem at Chelsea. With the window coming, it created so much instability. And being a club that now buys and sells so much, I think is going to be a problem. So we have Ben Chilwell that, look, Audi TT, Thomas Tuchel, he already said that he already had a conversation apparently with Ben Chilwell, and he's like he's not kicking him out of the England team. He's saying, I think they've had some sort of conversation like, go find some game time because I want to take you into account for the national team. So if Tuchel thinks he's good enough, which obviously he knows him really well, something's terribly wrong. I always said this. I think there's a story there that we'll never know. Because you can't bull honky me, you can't bull shizzle me, Maresca or the club or anybody else. You're gonna tell me that dude, there's never any. I mean, like he can't invert. Like even you played minutes for Renato Veiga, this guy can't play him. there's games when we should have played overlapping fullbacks, and there's a couple of games where we actually did. There was no space for him there. I think there's some goddamn soap opera going on there that makes me very miserable and unhappy, and I hope it gets resolved because I love this player. Real Chelsea fans love this player. He brought us Champions League glory. He brought us a lot of great moments. He's an offensive player. We saw him finish. We saw him strike the ball. We saw a lot of beautiful things. England national. I'm really terrified. Like I said, I care about players' well-being. If you're a true football person, you want them to thrive, to flourish. And man, he's dying. A lot of players, we put some players in a very tough spot, and he's one of the worst ones too. So I think there's a little bit ungrateful there. Then Carney Chukwuemeka, I had to call his mom to get a picture pretty much because he has had no minutes. Really hard to find an image of him even. Barely any minutes in sort of same situation. I don't understand. In his case, more so, yes, it's a 10, and we have an overabundance of 10s. So sure, we couldn't find a spot for him. It's tough to get minutes. We got to loan him out if Maresca doesn't consider him. And speaking of 10s, that brings us to 2, right? Dewsbury-Hall, which I think some people say, I just assumed, and I guess I was wrong, that the coach brought him, that Maresca brought him with him from the team. Some people say no, that was actually just a scouting team. Because I thought sometimes coaches like to bring a player because they understand their system and it's easy to translate into the new players, into the rest of the team. I thought that was the reason. Apparently, maybe not. Maybe it was just one of those scouting, recruiting decisions. I think his price was high. So if you can offload him and not lose money, I think we should. Although I think he's a decent squad player, and especially if you're playing 2 or 3 tournaments, somebody's going to do that job. We got to find players that are willing to do that work. Later, yes, we'll have hopefully Champions League. We'll have Champions League, and but if not, there's still the cup. And if you're not playing the youngsters and you're not playing the ones on the bench, like I don't know. We wanted to see Roxaki recently, we didn't. You guys help me understand that. Then going back to the other 2 10s, like I said, Felix, another one, to me, completely treated unfairly. Although he gets some minutes, brought in at the wrong time. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world. I understand he sometimes doesn't finish, which is a problem that Chelsea has. But he does come in, break lines, tight games, can carry the ball really well in midfield, and there's been times for him to play. And again, a lot of speculation on who wants him. Of course, West Ham wants actually Chukwuemeka and Dewsbury-Hall and Blueberry Hill. And same thing, there's a lot of people want to try Felix. It's really sad. That's a story of somebody that has the sparkle of a world-class, amazing player, but he hasn't been able to find his feet for so long in so many teams, and the same is happening to him again in Chelsea. But it sounds, from what the rumors say, word on the street is he wants to stay in Chelsea. He loves living in London, and he wants to make it work. So if he's willing to make it work, the business side should try to make it work for him. I don't know. I disagree with Maresca on that one. And then Nkunku, supposedly, like I said, connected to United if something happens with Garnacho. That doesn't make me very happy. I like the idea. I don't like the idea of spending 60 million, but I like the idea of taking somebody with great potential from United. Again, it worked with Sancho, and this guy's even younger and even better. Although that might be tricky, right? Because I think, Sancho was benched over Garnacho, so kind of tricky to bring them both back into the same team. I wonder what that is. I wonder if there's ever been any bad blood between them. And then Nkunku to Bayern. We've heard that a lot, and that if an offer comes in, a decent offer, sometime in January, that Nkunku might go. And again, that's another player that I just feel sad for, and I want him to win. I want him to score goals again and bring out his little balloon, man. And if we think he sucks, which I don't, but if the coach does and the team does and we don't consider him, then let the man go. So, having said all that, amigos, that are just sort of my thoughts on what we have right now going on with transfers. There's many other rumors that I don't think are worth bringing up. We did buy, people are so upset about this. I'm like 11-year-old guy from Kazakhstan. I'm exaggerating, I think, but he really is like 15. And we're going to hear about that stuff. I was hearing one of the pundits say something, and he's right. Before, you wouldn't hear about these little signings. If someone else said Chelsea actually got a ban because we bought Gael Kakuta, too young, and he never turned out to be anything good for us. But, the wheeling and dealing, we have too much information. And that's why I didn't want to be part of that noise, and I waited until the 24th of January to get together some things because we haven't seen any real movement, because we haven't seen many things moving around. So I hope to not bombard you with that again. Let's collect our thoughts maybe on transfer deadline or the day after transfer deadline. We can make a video and see where we landed. And let me know, where do you guys feel? And this is my fear, is that what if we do let go two or three of these guys, like we said, and we go from having too many tins to not having any, to having, maybe at one point we had too many wingers to not having many, and then we do something stupid like too many center backs. I know you guys want a goalkeeper. I know you guys want a world-class striker. I don't know what to tell you, man. I agree. Our team just doesn't move that way. I think it's sort of like making smart financial decisions, players that have projection and that will go up in price over time, players who can play multiple positions. That's sort of what they seem to like, and that play like this modern football, and like these sort of hybrid players. Bring them in and ensure that we have a financial scheme that allows for flexibility, high-end transfers. I don't know how that works in terms of stability, morale in the team, and to actually harvest some success years later if there's none of these experienced players out there and we don't buy them anymore and we kick out the couple that we have. I'm not sure. They'll prove us in time. In any case, let me know, Chelsea fans, what players you want to see gone and why. And remember, who do you bring in if you can? And but bringing them in how Blue Co does it, how Chelsea does it now, not what you would do. I know what I would do. That doesn't matter. But in a realistic scenario, if we let go of some of these guys who we can bring in, I don't want to bring in people, a lot of more younger people. I don't know how that serves us. But in any case, let me know who you want to see out and who would you want to see in. And don't tell me Osimhen or anything like that, because look, it may happen, but that's not how we move. So you would have to find some other players, like we did Samuel Morodion, when we're looking like that level of player that we would bring in this stage. And you non-Chelsea fans, who do you want to poach? We got them. We got the collection. We got the wingers. We got the midfielders. We got the young. We got the old, the experienced, the non-players. We got a bunch of sad people that might want to go your way and play some football. So who is the sexiest, most attractive player to you? Let me know what team you support and why would you want to bring them. Because it looks like Chelsea's going to be open for business a lot for players, not just now, but always. We're talking January. We're moving, especially rumors are flowing like it's summer transfers, at least with outgoings with Chelsea. And that's a little terrifying. In any case, as always, amigos, please like and subscribe. And so we can keep building this community, working harder, and I'll make better videos every day. I'm learning and I'm really enjoying it. And be ready. We have I did my preview for Manchester City. Please watch it and be ready for an amazing game that we have tomorrow, Saturday. I think it's going to be high octane for those of you that are not Chelsea or City fans. It's going to be a good one to watch. Trust me. And I hope that Chelsea come out on top. Until the meantime, if any Chelsea players, and certainly to all the Chelsea fans and all the lovers of football, please give me your comments, any ideas that you have for videos, and have a great one.